Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to another week in the NFL. Welcome to another episode of Facemask Fantasy. Last minute start sit thoughts before the Sunday slate. If you want to reaffirm anything that we discussed yesterday, or if there are any new developments that you want to walk through, we can certainly do that. I got to double check my own lineups. I feel like I have Kareem Hunt starting in a dynasty league somewhere, and I got to double check if he's actually going to play. Sounds like he's a game time decision. DK Metcalf is a game time decision. Aaron Jones is expected to play, but he could be on a bit of a pitch count. Zach Charbonnet not expected to go, so Kenneth Walker RB1 overall type week incoming. With the backfield essentially to himself. See if an underdog has any other additional updates. Fields expected to miss 2 to 3 more weeks. Craig Reynolds is expected to play, but he's probably operating at less than 100%. You're firing up Jahmyr Gibbs with plenty of confidence today. Yeah, Kareem Hunt's going to go in on pregame workouts, so we'll see how that goes. And then probably the big one, according to Adam Schefter, Royce Freeman and Darrell Henderson are expected to get the quote-unquote majority of work for the Rams backfield this week. Don't trust any of the Rams is essentially where I'm at. I don't trust Darrell Henderson. I don't trust Royce Freeman. I don't trust Myles Gaskin. And I don't trust Zach Evans. We just need to see how that backfield shakes out. And honestly, even after we get some answers, I'm still probably not going to want to fire any of those guys up next week. That feels like a true week-to-week type of thing based on matchups and all that good stuff. So avoid the Rams backfield at all cost. There's no way to feel good about that. Also, Daniel Jones officially will not play for the Giants. Washington's defense looks like a pretty strong stream if you are still between a few different options. I mentioned last night that I do like the Giants defense as a stream. I do think they'll get some sacks on Sam Howell. However, without Daniel Jones, Tyrod Taylor played okay Sunday night last week against the Bills, but you could probably expect the Giants offense to sputter out more frequently than not. Could put the Giants defense in some bad spots. So I'm not necessarily as bullish about them as I was last night, even though I do think they will be able to get to the quarterback. Sam Howell has been taking sacks this year at a somewhat frequent rate. See what else we got going on here. And Deshaun Watson is expected to start. This is a great matchup for Amari Cooper. So if you're between Amari Cooper and a couple other players, probably needs to be Amari Cooper. It's a good matchup, and he has his quarterback back. Fire him up. We've gotten a lot of questions about Christian McCaffrey. The 49ers play on Monday Night Football. It's pretty simple. You are waiting on Christian McCaffrey. If you have to start a dart throw, like it's Jawan Jennings or if Elijah Mitchell or Jordan Mason are still out there, go ahead and find a way to get them on your roster. Put McCaffrey in your flex. Remember, always, always, always leave your flex open until the last possible moment that you need it. If your best player is playing on Sunday night, put them in the flex. If your best player is playing on Monday night, put them in the flex. You never know what's good. If you have a guaranteed starter that you know you're firing up no matter what, and they don't play until Sunday night or Monday night, whoever the last guy to go for you is, put them in there in your flex. It avoids any fluky crap happening. You can maximize the flexibility, pun intended, of the position itself, and you're not hamstrung by, okay, if McCaffrey's out and I kept him in a running back spot, now I have to play a running back. What happens if Jordan Mason and Elijah Mitchell are not available? Put McCaffrey in your flex if you have him. He's listed as questionable. Sounds like he's going to play. You wait for him no matter what. I don't care what the situation is. You have to wait on a player like Christian McCaffrey and hope that he goes. If he can't, at least he's in your flex, and you can fire up whatever the best position available is on the wire. That's a rapid fire injury update for Sunday morning. We will get inactives declared probably within the next 20 to 30 minutes here. Teams will start ruling players out, generally speaking, about 90 minutes before kickoff. What's going on, Alex? Good to see you, man. I would go Foreman most likely over Keontae Ingram. No Roshan Johnson, no Khalil Herbert. And Ingram looked decent last week, but this is an improved Seattle defense. And it's a pretty good matchup for Foreman. He should have the role all to himself. And being at home, that neutralizes it a little bit. I would go Foreman. I would go Foreman over Ingram. He has the role to himself. Travis Homer is back, but Travis Homer is a special teams player. He'll get in the mix today out of necessity, but Foreman should lead the backfield in opportunities. And with no Justin Fields vulturing work, there's a good chance he comes through with a decent floor. What's up, P. Diddy? Good to see you, bro. Between Flowers, Addison, or Cook, since it's full PPR, I'm not as enthusiastic about Cook, and he's been kind of blah the past couple of weeks. Flowers is in a pretty good spot at home against Detroit. Addison is in a tougher spot, but he is at home against San Francisco. I kind of like Flowers. Addison has delivered some solid wide receiver 2 outputs this year, but this is a tough spot on Monday night against the 49ers. It's just a matchup thing. It is a softer matchup for Flowers than it is for Addison. Both guys are at home, so that is a matchup equalizer, neutralizer, whatever you want to call it. I'll take Flowers. I like the spot he's in a little bit better. Caught his first touchdown in London last week. Just checking some of my news and notes. Flowers has a 20% target share, 5 of the past 6 games. It's pretty strong. I lean Flowers in a slightly better matchup. Let's see. Judy, Deontay, or DJ Moore. Are these all guys like this is all all the same league? DJ Moore will be catching passes from a rookie who has seen his first game action. Not super enthusiastic about that. Deontay is in his first game back after missing past month due to a hamstring injury in a tough matchup against the Rams. The Rams have been pretty good against opposing wide receivers. Judy is the toughest to trust of these 3, but it is a good matchup. Or no, actually, it's on the other end of the spectrum. The Packers have actually been somewhat stingy against wide receivers, but he is at home. He's cleared 50 yards receiving in 3 of 5 games, Judy has, but that hasn't led to anything more than the wide receiver 33 performance overall. He's a wide receiver 3 right now. Deontay is a little risky. As much as I like Deontay, he's a little risky. He might be the guy I go with and just hope for the best, even in a tough matchup, because Judy can't be trusted right now, and DJ Moore is going to be catching passes from a rookie making his first career start. That just feels very difficult to trust right now. Feels really difficult to trust right now. I guess I would say Deontay, but I don't feel very strongly about it. The one thing you can say about DJ Moore is he should get all the targets. Generally speaking, backup quarterbacks hyper target their top option. DJ Moore is the top option in this passing game. Um, that would be the one thing in DJ Moore's favor. Volume will be coming his way. How effective that is another question. But Badgett should be looking DJ Moore's way a lot. So if you prefer expected volume, you can try to go more, but you know how much confidence we have in a rookie making his first career start caps that a little bit. I would say Deontay is a risky floor play and DJ Moore is a risky ceiling play. It depends on what you think you need the most. Can you get away with 8 to 10 points? You might just want to like play Deontay and hope for the best. Do you need an upside play? Do you need to shoot for the moon? And if you only get 4 or 5 points, you were an underdog anyway, and it wasn't looking good anyway, then maybe go DJ Moore and just hope he can come through on some increased volume from the rookie quarterback. Got a sleeper update here. All signs point to 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey playing on Monday night. So again, if you have Christian McCaffrey, just put him in your flex. Just put him in your flex. It's 2 separate leagues. Okay, Deontay over Judy. And then if you need a floor play, Deontay. If you need to shoot for the moon, if you need to swing for the fences, then DJ Moore. Again, Christian McCaffrey sounds like he's going to play. Put him in your flex, right? We don't have to I feel like a lot of people get into this headspace or this mindset where Christian McCaffrey's my RB1, so I have to have him in my RB1 spot. No, the points count the same no matter where he is in your lineup as long as he's in your lineup. Put him in your flex. Protect yourself against this kind of question or this cloud shrouding Christian McCaffrey's availability, even though it sounds like he's going to play. Just put him in your flex. In the what looks like unlikely event now that he doesn't go, you can put any position that makes the most sense off of waivers. You can slide them in. But it sounds like he's going to go. What's going on, Iron? Good to see you, man. Start 3 between DJ Moore, Flowers, Watson, Pickens, Rice. The first 3. DJ Moore should see some decent volume. How efficient that volume is remains to be seen. Flowers caught his first touchdown last week. He's pretty much secured a 20% target share from Lamar. His role is pretty safe. And then Watson is in a dream matchup against the Broncos. I would just play those first 3. Pickens, we need to see how Pickens does with Deontay back. We need to see how he does first. He hasn't been, it's a small sample size. He was only a rookie last year, but in games where they both suit up, Pickens' production goes down. So I would just go those first 3 and hope for the best. Moore, Flowers, Watson. Waller or Pitts in full PPR? Oof. Pitts has come on strong the past couple of weeks. Got scores the past 2 games, but this is a tough matchup. On the road against Tampa. It's hard to trust Desmond Ridder in this spot. But Waller is without his quarterback. What were Waller's numbers with Tyrod Taylor last week on Sunday night? I'm looking that up right now. 5 for 43, 7 targets. It's not terrible. And by the numbers, it's a pretty good matchup. Or Pitts has 1 he doesn't have touchdowns in back-to-back weeks. He has just 1 touchdown last week, but he had another good week back in week 5. That was at home in a good matchup. We haven't seen We haven't seen Pitts go on the road and have a good matchup yet this year. Um, I would probably say Waller. I would say Waller slightly. Pitts is coming on strong the past couple weeks, but how much confidence do we have in Desmond Ritter on the road? Not that much. I'll give a slight nod to Waller between the two options. Jeff Wilson, Rashee Rice, or Josh Palmer, and it's full PPR. Um, Palmer should be the beneficiary of, the Chargers should have to throw the ball a ton on the road against Kansas City. Rice appears to be emerging as whatever you can call the go-to wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. And then, sorry, who's the other guy here? Oh, Jeff Wilson. I feel like we're in wait and see mode on Jeff Wilson. I would probably play Palmer. He's got 60 yards receiving in his past 3 games, or at least 60 yards receiving in his past 3 games, essentially since Mike Williams went down. You're just hoping for a wide receiver 3 performance from one of these guys. I would probably chase Palmer. 60 yards receiving past 3 games is pretty good for a wide receiver 3, and the Chargers will have to throw a ton against Kansas City no matter what happens. Whether they have a surprising lead or whether we predictably expect the Chargers to be trailing against the Chiefs, they're going to be throwing. I would go Palmer. Need 2 in full PPR between Wandale Downs, Osborne, or Elijah Mitchell. And we just got the update, that like Christian McCaffrey is most likely gonna play. Again, if you have Christian McCaffrey, put him in your flex. Always leave that flex spot open until you absolutely need it. Never, ever, ever leave players playing on Thursday night in your flex. That is how you handcuff yourself in these situations. Put McCaffrey in the flex if you have him. Sounds like he's going to go. So that makes Elijah Mitchell super unenticing. He's honestly not that enticing, even if McCaffrey's out of the lineup. Between Wandale Robinson, Downs, and Osborne. Osborne's at home on Monday night. Robinson is down Tyrod Taylor, or down Daniel Jones. He will be catching passes from Tyrod Taylor. It's a great matchup for Wandale. He had 8 for 62 last week, so that's pretty good. I would say Downs is not in consideration here. He's going against Cleveland. Cleveland has been the stingiest matchup for opposing wide receivers this year. So you probably have to start Pittman if you have Pittman, but I'm not feeling Downs. I'm certainly not feeling Alec Pierce. He hasn't done much of anything this year. This is a tough spot for the Colts wide receivers. Cleveland is super stingy against opposing wideouts. So I would say Downs is not in consideration here. I'll say Wandale and Osborne. And don't risk Elijah Mitchell with McCaffrey sounding like he's going to give it a go. Wandale and Osborne. Those are the guys I would go with. Tutu or Logan Thomas. Neither. If Luke Musgrave is available, grab him. He's playing the Denver Broncos. There's not much more that needs to be said. The Broncos are a train wreck in every which way you can justify or quantify, and they are the worst defense against opposing tight ends. I would grab Musgrave, and if you have to drop Logan Thomas to do it, do it. Hell, if you have to drop Tutu to do it, do it. Tutu is a distant wide receiver 3 now that Cooper Kupp is back for the Rams. Grab Musgrave. Drop either one of those dudes. I would drop Logan Thomas. I don't like rostering 2 tight ends. I would drop Logan Thomas and grab Musgrave. Plug him in immediately. Musgrave. Yep. Grab him. Grab him and hold him. He might not be he might not be an every week option, but he sure as hell is an option today. The Denver Broncos are the most favorable matchup for tight ends in the NFL this year. They're the most favorable matchup for damn near anything this year. But tight ends, yeah, I would grab Musgrave. Coming off the bye week, Aaron Jones still less than 100%. Some of those short passes could go to the tight end. Give me Musgrave. And drop Logan Thomas to do it. Nice. Sport. I like those ads a lot. I like the Luke Musgrave ad. I love the Tajay Spears ad. Don't drop Tajay Spears today. If you're looking for a roster spot, you need to make a last minute ad or whatever. Don't drop Tajay Spears, man. I've been on that train for several weeks now. I have him in a league where I'm not a redraft league where I'm not dropping him. He's on bye. I need to find somebody to drop because I got to activate Deontay off IR so that I can move pieces around in my lineup. I can tell you right now, Tajay Spears will not be the drop to make that happen. I like him rest of season. We could be seeing a changing of the guard later in the year. The Titans are, let's call spade a spade. I'm not, nothing personal to any Titans fans out there. That team is done. They are cooked this year. They were probably cooked to begin with. They shouldn't have tried to compete this year. They should have looked to move Tannehill to anybody. Honestly, they should have tried to be the team to flip Tannehill to the Jets after Aaron Rodgers went down. They were delusional trying to compete this year. Jacksonville has surpassed them. Houston has surpassed them with CJ Stroud, and maybe not for the rest of this season, but because Indianapolis has Anthony Richardson, they've also surpassed the Tennessee Titans. They are at the bottom of that division. They should be looking to the future, and that should mean getting as long of a look at Tajay Spears that you possibly can. Derrick Henry will not be back next year for the Tennessee Titans. It's that last year of his contract, and he's a 29-year-old running back who's going to want way too much money. Hold Tajay Spears. And if he's out there, grab him before it's too late. This is like your probably last opportunity to get him if he's still available. So I like that pickup. Hold Tajay Spears. Royce Freeman or Darrell Henderson? Neither. Like, Joe, who else is out there? There's neither. I'm not trying to be facetious. Like, there is no way. We got an update from Adam Schefter earlier this morning that they're going to split the work. No idea how that shakes out. No idea if Myles Gaskin gets in there for a little bit. No idea if Zach Evans is going to force a couple of, he gets a couple of carries or whatever, although it sounds like that's unlikely. Not there. Who else is out there? Who else is on the wire? If it's Slim Pickens, I get it. I understand bye weeks and injuries. It's a brutal time for running backs right now, but genuinely neither. Like, I don't want to play either one of those guys. Is Keontae Ingram out there? Like, is Justice Hill out there? Dude, is Antonio Gibson out there? Like, I do not want to play. Shit, is Jerick McKinnon out there? Like, are any of these? I would rather roll the dice on any one of those guys as opposed to trying to predict which Rams running back is the most relevant today. I feel like the answer is none of the above. Like, is there anybody else? Is there anybody else out there? Like Latavius Murray? I actually kind of like Latavius today without Damian Harris. I think he's going to get involved. Is there anybody else? I am not playing a Rams running back this week. I don't trust it. Someone will do well, but good luck trying to burst. Actually, someone could do well. I'm not even going to say someone will do well. Someone in that backfield could do well. Good luck trying to predict which one it'll be. The answer to the Rams running backs is no. We got to find another option. Pick 2 between Goddard, Tutu, Keontae Ingram, Bourne, or Wandale. Is it full PPR quit or is it half PPR? That the scoring helps here for since there's a run since Ingram is in here. Um, Kind of depends on the scoring. Um, if you're not starting Goddard as your regular tight end, it's understood if you want to pivot off of him, but this is this is a potential high scoring matchup tonight between the Dolphins and the Eagles. Um, so he's intriguing, but obviously Goddard hasn't been good outside of 1 week this year. He's been very up and down. Kendrick Bourne is in a good spot. Sounds like Juju Smith-Schuster is not going to play. Not that that matters. Kendrick Bourne is in a pretty good spot. I don't think I would play Atwell. I don't think I would play Ingram. And then Wandale is interesting, even though he's down Tyrod Taylor. He had 8 catches for 62 yards last week, so that's pretty good. I'm tempted to say, if you don't need to play Goddard, I'm tempted to just say play Bourne and Wandale. Goddard has the benefit of being in a matchup where we're expecting lots of points to be scored between the Eagles and Dolphins. So that would be the only thing. But the volume would suggest that we're going to get that from Bourne and Wandale. I would probably go those guys. If it's half PPR, Ingram has a little bit more of an argument, but I'd probably just go with those. Probably just go with those wide receivers. I would go with Bourne and Wandale. Probably just go Bourne and Wandale. Also, it is 11:30 on the East Coast, which means we should start to see inactives for the early slate officially start to roll in. So be sure to keep an eye out for those. I'll be refreshing Twitter here. Craig Reynolds is active. Kareem Hunt is active. He is officially active for Week 7. He will play. If you have Kareem Hunt, and I think this is the next question, Kareem Hunt may not play. Between Hunt, not Henderson, between Hunt, Latavius Murray, Jerick McKinnon, the thing with Kareem Hunt, we're not guaranteed that he gets the volume that he enjoyed last week. And while he is active, being on the injury report is a little concerning. And just to follow up with Dylan's question, it looks like Gibson is available for you as well. Is this full PPR? It is. Between Gibson, between Kareem Hunt, between Latavius Murray, and between Jerick McKinnon. Again, I guess I'm going out on a bit I'm going out on a bit of a limb here, but I kind of like Latavius Murray today. Damian Harris isn't there. This could be, it's a divisional game, AFC East showdown between the Bills and the Patriots. It's a mismatch on paper. But these games are weird. They play out in strange ways. I feel like Murray gets involved here. Without Damian Harris. Got a 50% snap share last week, got 12 carries. It's not going to be pretty with Latavius Murray. You're basically hoping he falls into the end zone, and he's done that twice this season. So there is hope for that. And it's a good matchup by the numbers. No Matthew Judon, no Christian Gonzalez. I would probably go Murray. And just hope for the best. And it's half PPR. Bourne and Wandale. Goddard is in. The only way you're firing up Goddard over Bourne and Wandale is if you just want to chase the potential of that matchup because there should be lots of points scored. But Goddard hasn't been very good this year. He's only got one tight end, one performance, and it was against the Rams, who are giving up lots of points to tight end to everybody. Like it's been AJ Brown, and I think Devontae Smith bounces back tonight as well. I would go Bourne without Juju, and I guess I would go Wandale. I would go with those two receivers, and just hope for the best. So yeah, and Dylan, I would go Latavius Murray. What's going on, Crumply Heads? Good to see you, man. Between Ayuk, Metcalf, and Marquise Brown. So I'm 100% playing Ayuk with no Debo. 100% playing Ayuk. Put him in your flex if you have that spot open. Again, always put your Sunday and Monday night players in your flex. Maximize the flexibility for as long as you need to, just in case. You never know. I'm 100% playing Ayuk. As far as Metcalf versus Hollywood, Metcalf is a game time decision. Now, these two play in the same game, so you have the benefit of being able to wait on DK Metcalf if you want to, but he is going to be operating at less than 100%. He's dealing with a hip injury. There's several things that he's, there's several ailments that he's currently battling. Is it an ankle injury as well for DK? I know it's like he's dealing with a hip, right? Ribs. He's dealing with rib injury. Jesus. I might play it safe, Crumply Heads, and just play Marquise Brown, who is not on the injury report. I know he's going to have to go up against Witherspoon for the Seahawks, and that's not a great matchup, but Marquise Brown has earned his, he has earned the right to trust him. He's been a wide receiver 2, 4 out of 6 weeks this year. Last week was a dud week, but that was against the Rams, and the Rams have been solid against wide receivers all season long, and he still drew 11 targets. He's got double-digit targets in 4 of his past 5 games. I don't see any reason why that would change today. I would play it safe and bench Metcalf. Game time decision, dealing with multiple injuries, hasn't practiced all week. Now, DK is one of those few players where he'll play even without practicing. He's one of those types of guys where missed practices all week don't necessarily mean that Metcalf's going to miss, but he's on the injury report with multiple injuries. Marquise Brown isn't. I would just play it safe and play Marquise Brown. And then Ayuk definitively with no Debo. Ayuk, Hollywood. Yes, sir. It is Bipocalypse this week and lots of injuries on top of that. Let's see. You have Brees. You have Kyron Williams probably. Do you have IR spots, Notorious? Do you have to? I assume if you did, you would already have these guys stashed on IR. But we can't keep holding all these dudes if they. Well, you got to hold Kyron. You got to hold Achane. I would say Roshan is not necessarily a must hold. I guess. Who are the other receivers that you're starting? Who is more disposable for you? Between Roshan and Michael Wilson. It depends on the strength of the depth at those positions. If you're stronger at running back, then drop Michael Wilson. If you're stronger at wide receiver, drop Roshan. But if you need Wan'Dale Robinson, then whatever you're stronger at, drop the lowest player at that position of strength to grab Wan'Dale. If you're strong at running back, drop Roshan. If you're strong at wide receiver, drop Michael Wilson. Oh, you would have to start. Okay, so basically it's either Michael Wilson or Wan'Dale Robinson. I slightly lean Wan'Dale. He got 8 catches last week. In full PPR, he's a little more enticing. Michael Wilson is a very intriguing bench stash. He's been somewhat quiet since he had a big blow-up spot again in week 4. He had 3 catches for 62 yards last week. That was really good, but Wan'Dale had 8. Wan'Dale had 8 catches. So in full PPR, I think Wan'Dale's a little bit stronger. If it's half PPR, it's a little bit closer. Oh, it's full PPR. I might chase the Wandale. The fact that he had 8 catches with Tyrod last week, I might chase the Wandale production. It's close, but I slightly lean Wandale. And it's a great matchup by the numbers for him. Washington's giving up lots of points to opposing wide receivers this year. Since his return, Robinson has at least 5 targets in every game. So his role is pretty solid. 5 targets, 6 targets, 6 targets, 8 targets. And it's a great matchup. I slightly lean Wandale. What's going on, Greg? Good to see you, man. Do I like Kansas City rest of season over Dallas? That's a tough call. Kansas City looks like they're a much better defense than they have been the past couple of years. The past couple of years, the Chiefs have been a very beatable defense. That's not the case this year. They are good. Tentatively, I would still probably put Dallas slightly ahead of them rest of season, but without Trayvon Diggs, it's a much closer conversation. Obviously, between the two of these defenses, Dallas has far and away the best player in Micah Parsons, and they've got really strong depth and in a lot of other places. But Kansas City has been pretty solid. It's close. They're neck and neck. It's honestly based on matchups, but Kansas City has forced their way into the conversation as a top, I would say, 7 or 8 defense rest of season for sure. So maybe a slight nod to Dallas still, just because we expected them to be top 3 rest of season, or just going into the season. But Kansas City they've showed they're quite good. It's just going to be matchup dependent rest of season. Like, for example, week 8, I'm not sure who the Cowboys are playing, but you want to fire up the Chiefs, they're playing the Broncos. Just checking underdog. Any other active? Juju Smith-Schuster officially inactive for week 7. So Kendrick Bourne is a solid flex. Kyler Murray could return week 9, more likely to return week 10. So if you're unsettled at quarterback and Kyler Murray is still available on waivers, consider grabbing him. I don't know if he's still IR eligible. I would have to double check that. Is he IR eligible? I can't even tell. Actually, I think let me just double check. He is. He's still okay. He's still on the PUP list. So if Kyler is still out there, grab him, put him in one of those IR spots that you should hopefully have. He could return in the next few weeks. Let's see, where are we at? Full PPR, you need a flex between London, Najee, Gabe, or Musgrave. I'm inclined to say London. It's a tough spot on the road. Hard to trust Desmond Ridder, but London is just one of those individual talents that you just kind of have to fire up and hope for the best. Full PPR certainly makes it a little easier to trust him. Najee, I can't trust at all. And while I like Musgrave as a tight end stream this week, I can't bring myself to play him over somebody like Drake London. There is downside with Drake London because he's on the road and it's a tough matchup. But London is a very good individual talent, and sometimes we just need to bet on talent even in bad spots, even in bad situations. Like, you're just hoping he can score a cheap touchdown, basically. I would roll the dice with London and hope for the best. Yeah, I would roll the dice with London and hope for the best. If you picked up Musgrave, I like the pickup, but you're not starting him over Laporta. Laporta has earned the right to be, you know, your every week tight end comfortably. I like Musgrave a lot, but Laporta is like more of like a ready to contribute, like ready to regularly put up strong numbers um already, like right now. Laporta has to be in your lineup no matter what. I would not switch Musgrave out for those wide receivers. No. I like Musgrave. I like the matchup a lot. But those names that you have already in there, just keep them in there. Just keep your lineup how you have it. I like Musgrave this week, not over those names. Not over those guys that you already have in there. Watson or Purdy. So Purdy's not going to have Debo, but it looks like he'll have Christian McCaffrey. Meanwhile, Watson has missed the past couple of weeks with a shoulder injury. I would lean Purdy. I would lean Purdy. There's no injury concerns, at least right now, today. There's no injury concerns with Brock Purdy. Meanwhile, Watson has missed the past couple of weeks. I would play Purdy. He still has Ayuk. He still has Kittle, and it looks like he's going to have Christian McCaffrey. What's the latest on Trent Williams, actually? That's probably an important injury update that we want to keep an eye on. Is Trent Williams going to miss this week? Trent Williams is listed doubtful. Okay. That is a little bit more of a concern for the 49ers offense. Trent Williams is a major part of what they're able to accomplish. One of the best left tackles in the league, one of the best offensive linemen in the league. That is a tougher spot. Cautiously, I would still probably go with Purdy, but he does have some drawbacks without his left tackle and without Debo Samuel. I would probably still lean Purdy, but it's not as wide of a gap as it normally would be if the 49ers were fully healthy on offense. But it's a good matchup by the numbers. Purdy's been a top 15 quarterback 4 of 6 weeks this year. And it's a good matchup by the numbers against the Vikings. I guess I'd go Purdy. It's close, though, because he's down his left tackle and he's down Debo Samuel. The reason I'm not starting Watson is because he himself is the one who has been on the injury report. Would I start Bourne over Mike Evans? No. No. Mike Evans is one of those dudes that you just kind of have to ride or die with. I know he's been quiet, but they're at home. The Bucks are not terrible. Well, as far as the NFC South is concerned anyway. The Bucks might be the best team in that division. So like sometimes that's just an equalizer for me. A guy at home. First of all, Mike Evans is a tried and true stud. Who you just kind of have to fire up each week and hope for the best, even if he has a quiet couple of weeks. Remember, one of those weeks came against the Saints, right? He never does well against Lattimore. He never does well against Lattimore. And then last week was, 4 for 49. Not a great game for the Bucks offense as a whole. I would think they can have a little bit more success against Atlanta, who is not as good of a team as Detroit. I can't play Kendrick Bourne over Evans. I can't do that. Can't do that. Pirine or Is that who's McLeod? Is that Ray McLeod without or is that Ray McLeod? I mean, I guess between the two of them, I don't trust McLeod. Or is that McLaughlin? If it's McLeod, it's a deep ass league. I mean, Ray McLeod doesn't have more than 2 catches in any game this year. He is not going to be just because Debo Samuel is out. He doesn't climb the ranks just because Debo is out. I would say, I mean, P Ryan, just go with the running back who at least has a bit of a pass catching role and hope for the best. I can't play Ray McLeod. If it's a 20-man league, I guess I understand the dart throw, but he cannot be trusted. Yeah, his any production he puts up any given week, any given season is random. P Ryan at least has somewhat of a regular role. Let's see. Full PPR, you need 2 between Taylor, Moss, McLaughlin, Freeman, and Henderson. Uh Taylor for sure. Let's fire up Taylor with at least a little bit of confidence this week. Um It's a tough matchup, but it's Jonathan Taylor. I think we're getting close to the point where Taylor becomes a mainstay in your starting lineups. I think we're getting close to that time. Um, Moss has been good the past couple of weeks, but because I'm firing up Taylor, I think I would want to diversify a little bit. So I would play McLaughlin in addition to Taylor. And, you're just hoping that Moss as a backup running back in a bad matchup doesn't bite you for putting him on your bench. I would say Taylor and McLaughlin. I don't trust the Rams backfield at all. Good luck trying to guess which one of those Rams running backs has a solid fantasy output, if any of them. Um, if Henderson does well today, good for Henderson. It'll be on my bench. It'll be on anybody's. For me, it's like every Rams running back needs to be on the bench. Don't trust it. Don't trust the Rams backfield situation. I'll go Taylor. And because I would start one of the Colts running backs in a tough matchup. I'm not super enthused about starting both of them. So I would probably roll with McLaughlin for some hopeful upside in the receiving game. Taylor and McLaughlin. As far as picking one between Musgrave or Mayer, this is a little easier for me. I'm going Musgrave. Spectacular matchup um, against the Denver Broncos. They're giving up the most points per game to opposing tight ends this year. I'll take Musgrave. I'll take Musgrave in the best matchup he will probably get all season long. I'll take Musgrave. Let's see. Do you drop Charbonnet and pick up Musgrave? How bad do you need a tight end? Musgrave or Charbonnet's not going to play most likely this week, and he hasn't done much of anything so far, but he's running back depth. And even if you're a running back who hasn't done much of anything, you have value because of the nature of the position. So I'm not like dying to drop Charbonnet just because he's not going to play. Oh, you have Kittle. No. Then no, you have to play Kittle, and he should see a few more looks with Debo out. Worry about bye weeks when it's time to worry about bye weeks. We got to get wins this week. I would not do that because you're not playing Musgrave anyway, not over Kittle. So no, hold Charbonnet. Like Kittle has a bye in 2 weeks, but how do I know that Kenneth Walker will be playing in 2 weeks? No way to know right now. Charbonnet could be, and I'm not trying to predict anything or suggest anything, but Charbonnet is one play away from being very, very valuable. Let's worry about week 9 when it's week 9. So no, hold Charbonnet. And with those, yes, hold Charbonnet. I don't have much faith in Singletary, and I don't know how much I can. I don't know how much I believe in Henderson. I mean, I have liked Darrell Henderson in the past. Before he got cut last year. He's only coming. He's only back as out of necessity. He's only back out of necessity. He could be viable today. I'm not taking the chance. I'm not taking the chance. But yeah, hold Charbonnet. Um, let's see. Quarterback question. You have Russ and Deshaun. If you only have one IR spot and Kyron Williams is already there, then no, just keep the quarterbacks. Just keep the quarterbacks. Drop one of them for Kyler before you drop one. No, I would no, because Kyler's not going to be back until week 10. We need the wins now, right? If one of them has a bad performance today, we can have that conversation next week when waivers run. For now, I would hold. For now, I would hold. Spears or Henderson as a stash? Spears. Far and away. Far and away. Not close. Big fan of Tajay Spears. I think he gets more involved as the season progresses. This Tennessee Titans team is going nowhere fast. It makes all the sense in the world for them to give as long of a look to their young guys as they possibly can. And Spears has already forced something of a committee in that backfield with Derrick Henry. He's already heavily involved, and he looks good doing it. Spears over Henderson for the and not particularly close for me. I am big on stashing Spears as a bench running back to wait on. And yes, I'm still feeling Latavius Murray over those other guys. He should get involved. He should get involved today. No Damian Harris. I would think the Bills have to run the ball a little bit more today, or they'll be in a position where they can run the ball a little bit more today. If Murray's able to get in on a goal, get a goal line touch, just fall into the end zone, that's pretty much what we're hoping for here. It's pretty much what we're hoping for. Yeah, I'll take the chance on Latavius Murray with no Damian Harris. Could see a 40%-ish snap share. And that's pretty good for a backup running back. We are at the end of the chat. I will give this a few more minutes just in case anybody rolls in a little late for any last-minute questions. In the event I do shut this down, if you miss me before the beginning of the slate, you can hit me in Discord. Second link in the description of this live stream, or you can just drop a comment on this video if anything comes up last minute. Obviously, try to have it in, 10 to 15 minutes before kickoff. Can't guarantee I'll see it before, if it's later than that. But if any last minute thoughts come up, feel free to either drop a comment on a video or you can join me in Discord to get any last minute thoughts there. Not just from me, but from the community as well. Kareem Hunt's going to play. He's going to play. But I don't know that I trust that he'll get the workload that he enjoyed last week. He got 15 touches last week in a bit of a surprise against the 49ers. There's no guarantee that they don't just go back to Jerome Ford this week. Running back committees are fickle like that. you think you have you think you have an idea on the situation, and then they reverse that trend the very next week. Um, Hunt should have a role, but being less than 100%, I would expect that Ford is the lead guy today. So Hunt is a little tougher to trust, even in a pretty good matchup by the numbers. So tough to trust him. He might be a guy that you just have to fire up out of necessity, but it's tough to trust Kareem Hunt. Less than 100% today. No guarantees that the Browns even prefer Hunt in this matchup over Ford. He's a risky RB3. Ford is a risky-ish low end RB2, high end RB3. So I would be very cautious about the Browns backfield. And yes, Roschon and Spears, easy holds over Henderson for me. Even if Henderson has a solid game today, it's probably just going to be temporary. There are other random dudes in that backfield that could get more involved as over the next couple of weeks. And then by the time Kyron Williams comes back, right now we can kind of comfortably assume that he's going to go back to being the team's RB1. Yeah. Let's see. You have Rashad White on your bench. Okay. I mean, I don't hate it. Rashad White has been pretty disappointing this year. I thought he would be better. He hasn't been. Um, he's a boring floor play in a tough matchup. I would not play him over Puka for sure. I probably would. I would roll the dice with Jerome. I mean, the argument in Rashad White's favor is that there's no other running back on that roster that should be threatening him for work. Rashad White is going to get the ball, and sometimes that's all that matters for running backs. Ford could be splitting work with Kareem Hunt, but Kareem Hunt is less than 100%. So tentatively, I would probably play Ford over him. The question is Osborne. If it's half PPR, I would probably roll with Rashad White and hope for the best. But if it's full PPR, I'm okay if you want to go with Osborne. He only had 4 for 48 catches 4 for 48 last week in a good matchup. It was an ugly game between the Bears and the Vikings. This is a tougher matchup by the numbers, but he is at home. So he's a little bit more appeal. And he is an every down player for them. If you don't trust Rashad White, then that's fine. I would probably tentatively, I would give White one more shot at home, even though Atlanta's a good run defense. Maybe he can pick up some catches this week. But if you don't trust Rashad White and you want to go with the receiver, especially if it's full PPR, I don't know if it is or not, but if it's full PPR and you want to go with Osborne over Rashad White, that's fine. Puka and Ford, I think I would put Puka for sure, and then I think I would put Ford in over Rashad as well. Just hasn't been good. The Bucks offensive line is not very good, and Rashad White himself has not looked very good. He had one nice game against Chicago. Congratulations. So does everybody else. And it is full PPR. If you want to go Osborne, that's fine. He hasn't done anything to necessarily earn a ton of trust. But he has 2 games where he's caught score. He has a couple games with scores. He hasn't been better than like a middling wide receiver 3, but in full PPR, I guess he's got a little bit more of a chance. And with obviously no Justin Jefferson at home, he's got a chance to come through. He's got a chance to come through. If you don't want to play Rashad White, I understand. He's tough to trust right now. Rice or Deontay in full PPR? I would say Rice is probably your upside play here. I love Deontay Johnson, always have, but it is his first game back, and it's a tough matchup by the numbers. The Rams have been pretty stingy against opposing wide receivers. They let A.J. Brown go nuts against them, but A.J. Brown is a top 5 stud. They've generally held a lot of receivers in check this year, the Rams have. So it's a tough spot for Deontay in his first game back coming off the hamstring injury. I would say Rice is a little bit more of an upside play here, and he has, I guess, emerged as the go-to wide receiver in that offense, I guess. Could be a decent number of points scored in Kansas City today with the Chargers in town. I guess I would say Rice. He's only cleared 50 yards receiving twice, but I mean, he is a rookie and he is still, finding his way. And, any type of rapport he has with Mahomes is still in development. It's still developing. But I mean, he's got at least 4 catches in 3 of his past 4 games. Nothing scary about the matchup at home. I would maybe go Rice. Take a shot on Rice. And that's somebody who's always been a big Deontay stan. Hunt or McLaughlin? Probably McLaughlin. I don't have any trust that I know what McLaughlin's role is, but he's not on the injury report. And he did get pass catching opportunities last week, whereas Javonte Williams got none. Like Jaleel McLaughlin was the dude who was in there getting pass catching opportunities. Or he was he only caught 2 balls, but he was running routes. Javonte really wasn't. With Hunt, less than 100%, I would probably roll the dice with McLaughlin and just hope for the best. Probably just roll with McLaughlin and hope for the best. Okay, this is an interesting situation with DK. Yeah, so if you have Metcalf and your best alternatives are playing in the early window, you probably just want to play those guys. DK is normally a guy that we want to wait on. But given the fact that he hasn't practiced all this week, he's dealing with multiple injuries, ribs, hip injury, will be operating at less than 100% if he gives it a go. He's considered a game time call, so it's possible he doesn't even play. McLaurin, I would definitely play over him. London is a bit of a tougher sell just because of the matchup, but we know London is going to play. If those are your best pivots, if those are your best alternatives, like there's not another guy on the wide, like if I don't know if Smith and Jigba got dropped, if you could pick him up just in case. If your best alternatives play in the early slate, I might just play those guys knowing that they're going to play. Whereas we don't know how much DK might play if he plays or how effective he'll be if he plays. I would probably just pivot to the guys who I know are healthy and who I know are going to play. Justice Hill or AJ Dillon? Dillon. I don't know that Dillon is even any good, but matchup couldn't be better. He's playing the Broncos, and it sounds like Aaron Jones is going to go, but it sounds like he's less than 100%. So you figure Dillon will. Dillon gets involved when Aaron Jones is 100% healthy. You figure he might get even a little bit more involved if Aaron Jones is operating at less than 100%. I would play Dillon. The Denver Broncos, if you have players playing against the Denver Broncos, as long as you don't have to take a stud out of your lineup to make it happen, you want to play your players against the Denver Broncos. So Dillon, Dillon over Hill, and I would say Moss over Hunt. Hunt is operating at less than 100%. I don't necessarily trust that he'll get the workload that he got last week as a result. I'll roll the dice on Moss, who at least he's going to continue to. I would expect his role to continue to reduce a little bit as Taylor continues to get up to speed, but he's not on the injury report, Moss, and Hunt had been up to this point. I'll take the chance on the healthy guy. Full PPR, Taylor, Cook, Devontae Smith, and Gibbs. Damn, these are some really good options to choose from. If it's full PPR, I think you have to roll the dice on Jahmyr Gibbs. I think you have to roll the dice on Jahmyr Gibbs without David Montgomery. His floor should be pretty safe since it's full PPR. You would think he gets pretty involved today as the clear top guy in the backfield because not only is David Montgomery out, Craig Reynolds is active, but he's been operating at less than 100%. He's dealing with, I think, an ankle injury or a hamstring injury or maybe both. So while he is active, he is operating at less than 100%. I think you have to go Gibbs. I think you have to go Gibbs as one of the two. And then James Cook, Jonathan Taylor, Devontae Smith are all in a very similar tier for me. Smith was on the injury report earlier this week, but he's going to play. And it's a great matchup. It's a great matchup, where we expect lots of points to be scored between the Dolphins and the Eagles. I would say Gibbs and Devontae Smith. There's some really good choices there. It sucks that you have to put a couple of really good players on the bench. I think we're close. We're close to Jonathan Taylor being a regular mainstay in your lineup again. But in this matchup, maybe he comes through, but we might have to wait until next week until he's a definitive, like Taylor has to be in your lineup no matter what. If you've got really strong options like these guys, then maybe you wait one more week on him. I would go Smith and Gibbs in full PPR. Smith and Gibbs. And then Elijah Moore or Najee. I'll take Elijah Moore. Najee can't be trusted. That's really what it all comes down to. Najee Harris cannot be trusted. I don't care if he's playing a college team going against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Najee Harris cannot be trusted. He doesn't have more than 10 half PPR points in any game this year. And I would say it's not out of the realm of possibility that Jaylen Warren there could be a change into the guard in that backfield. Warren is the better player. Elijah Moore at least has his quarterback back. And I know Deshaun Watson, I'm not crazy about Deshaun Watson today in his first game back, missing a couple of weeks due to the shoulder injury, but Elijah Moore does have his quarterback back. I would probably just take Moore. The usage has been there. The numbers haven't been there for Elijah Moore, but the usage has been there. Deshaun Watson seems to like throwing to Elijah Moore. So you're just hoping that he can pick up 6 or 7 catches. And then whatever he does after that is, gravy. I'll go Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore over Najee. We're at the end of the chat, so I'm going to be wrapping this up in the next couple of minutes. I have my own lineups that I have to set, to be honest. But Appreciate the engagement and the questions and the conversation today, you guys. Obviously, best of luck getting these week 7 wins. Again, feel free to join the Discord if you have any last minute questions or thoughts. Second link in the description of this video. Or you can drop a comment, if you can drop a question in the form of a comment on this video if anything comes up last minute in the next half hour or so. But I have some lineup decisions to sort through myself, so I need to figure this out. But best of luck today. Let's get these wins. I will be back on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, for Week 8 waiver wire help, in addition to any other questions you may have. We can sort those out then. Let's get these dubs this week. Best of luck today, everybody. Have fun. Enjoy the football. And I will see you guys on Tuesday. Thanks, everybody.